What a weird thing to witness as the stream starts. Ghost is out. Wow. Yes, hello and good evening. Hope you are. Welcome back to IIRL's Twitch channel. Hope you're really well. Another Tuesday night, which means a brand new week of streams here on Twitch for you guys, covering 4 races this week. Hopefully we get all 4 streams out. We do have a bit of a streamer shortage at the moment, so apologies if that is ruining your plans to watch the streams. As you say, hope you're all well. Action is very much underway. I did press stream before I went to the loo, but it seemed to not boot the stream, so hence why we're a little bit late. '13 race season, taking us up to around June or July time, where we will be expecting the new release, the new F1 release. So this season will take us up to that point, almost a collision there between Tidy as Bear and Flu. Round 4 of 13 is this week's action. We are at beautiful Catalunya race circuit in the heart of Spain. Ghost is fastest at the moment. However, Ghost has crashed and is out of qualifying. 16 of us here tonight, which means it will be a full qualifying session. So Ghost Tamino will be leaving qualifying. However, we're still expecting one person at the bottom of the table to leave based on lap time. So that's what's going on at the moment, just to avoid any confusion. Beautiful track this. Unfortunately we haven't got the track alterations. Fingers crossed they'll be in the next game. But for now, just have to make do with what we got. Ten minutes left of Quali 1. As we say, the person in 16th will be going out due to lap times as normal, but Ghost will not be able to take part in Q2 because of the crash in Q1. So 2 drivers leaving us. So really it's just about who can get clear of that 16 spot. Evening to you, Akaris. Hope you're well. Beautiful track. Let's join Padge Auto Track Tour. This beautiful circuit. Long DRS straight down towards turn 1, which you can take a lot of inside curve there, as Padge is suggesting. But through turn 2, that left-hander, don't take too much curve. Your car won't react to it very well. Very long turn 3. Can be flat out on low fuel, but on high fuel might be a little bit more tricky. It's the turn 4 braking area. It does open up towards the end. Don't get on the grass or the gravel the outside. Turn 5, very difficult braking zone, especially with no assists. Remember, Tuesday, no assist tier. Turn 6, not really a turn, but through 7 and 8, this is the hardest bit of the track. The chicane, very, very careful on the throttle. And through turn 9, a little bit of a lift, but pretty much flat out from Padge. Bit of DRS now towards turn 10. Heavy braking zone. Pick your turning point. Get your throttle application right through that little kinky left-hander. It is very difficult on the traction, so be careful. Through the right-hander again, just make sure you don't lose the back end. And another final chicane to end the lap. A lot of people hate this chicane. It's very slow, very fiddly, very tricky. This last corner isn't exactly a piece of cake on heavy fuel or high tyre wear either, so something to watch out for in the race. And that is your Catalonia track. Evening to you, Dayman. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm trying to put in some more comical and appropriate go live notifications in there. So I thought, yeah, Max needs a more reliable car at the moment. So fingers crossed he gets that. I'm sure we'd all like to see Leclerc and Verstappen fight it out for the championship. It's done very well, thank you, Macarius, done very well. FBUno coming round to finish his first lap of the evening. He actually joined the lobby at 7:30, so 10 minutes ago, and literally pulled into his driveway as the lobby was about to start. So hopefully FBUno gets some good practice laps in this qualifying session. Deton returning to the IIRL setup. Good to have him back. Just getting used to the game, Deton has said, so be nice to him. Give him a lot of leeway. And yep, there we go. Bit of a shunt. Not too bad. Still in the quali session, so that's good news for him. So Prev, who I believe has won or inherited the race win last week. That guy finished first by a second from his teammate Prev. However, I think that guy had a 5-second time penalty awarded after the race by the steward. So Prev, I think, I will seek clarification at the end of this session, is coming off the back of a race win from last week. So confidence must be high for those two Aston Martin boys. Nice and composed through that chicane and the final corner, nice and tidy across the line. Sets a 17.5, joins Chives and Ripley, who are also on 17.5s. That guy and Ryan are on 17.4s. Ross is just a bit ahead of them on the 17.2. Ghost is into the 16s, however, as we said a few minutes ago, he won't be able to take part in Q2 due to that crash. Here comes Dayman, final driver to set a valid lap time on the board and goes 12th fastest. Remember, this isn't Q1 isn't about who sets the fastest lap time, it's about who doesn't get knocked out, basically. And currently we've got Deton in the drop zone. Tucker for Life's time of 1 minute 20.5 is the one to beat at the moment if Deton wants to make the great escape into Q2. Seeing lots of pockets of collection of drivers on very similar times. So obviously you've got Ross, who's sort of a bit behind Ghost but ahead of Ryan and that guy, and then there's Chives, Prev, Ripley all close together. Wiggles just a couple of tenths off of that pack. Then you've got a very tight pack. Flu, Padge, Semp, Dayman, all very close to each other, less than 2 tenths separating them four. FBUno, Tidy as Bear, close together as well. Dayman invalidates this attempt, but I'm not sure this was a lap in anger anyway. Tucker, second or so off, and struggling with internet issues, I think. Just joined back, so that's good news. Hopefully he manages to get an uninterrupted lap out there, but he's only got 4 minutes to do so. Oh, Hyper's here. Oh, we weren't expecting Hyper tonight, but yeah. Hello, Hyper. And hello, Ghost. We unfortunately we did get your crash on stream, so yeah, sorry about that. But I think it was one of the first things the stream saw, so I do apologise. See how easy it is to invalidate turn 7 there, Prev, going over the inside curb. Saw it clear as day. That lap won't count for him. Easy to do. also easy to run over them curbs and get a massive snap of oversteer. So it's a very tricky track. Lots of invalidations. 3 drivers on track on a flying lap right now have all invalidated. Indeed, hopefully they can repeat it last week. It was very close, as we predicted. Lots of wheel-to-wheel action. Hyper is into the car, and only got a few minutes to get out on track, so it'll have to be one run for Hyper, and Tucker's time is the one to beat. Semp starting a new lap, but it is invalidated, so I think he's probably invalidated at the final corner. So this one won't count, but we'll probably be able to go around and go out for another run after this lap. So then Ripley in the Mercedes. Will you be in Q2 even if... I don't think it will let you drive in Q2 if you crashed out. That is my suspicion. If you are, then bonus. But I'm not sure it will allow you to, I'm afraid. So Ripley's backed off this lap, so we'll join Tidy as Bear, who is half a second up in Sector 1. Nice progress from him. Sector 2 split is there, just before that shady line. Deton's retired, so he won't be making it through to Q2. Tidy's Bear is now 6/10 up, which means that his spot in Q1 is almost guaranteed. Just Hyper now who can make that escape. It looks a nice tidy lap from Tidy's Bear across the line. See where he can put his Williams car. It's a massive improvement of 7/10 and goes up to 10th, just ahead of his teammate Padge. I have to say, very impressive there from Tidy's Bear. Tucker's time is the one to beat, and he is out on track. Lagging a little bit. You can see that car jumping around just a tad. Hopefully his connection holds out. Yes, indeed, that connection is a little bit shot, but he is on a good lap. 7/10 up. Going to put him into the mid to late 19s. Oh, and Ripley's out. Ripley has crashed. You can see on your track back where the yellow flag is. That Mercedes is out, and that means that Tucker is now safe. You can see Ripley has dropped below Tucker now on the leaderboard. Ripley's crash means that he is in exactly the same spot as Ghost. Will not be able to make it through. Tucker improves his time, not his place. Let's see what Hyper can do now. He's still in the drop zone. So if he can get a 1:19 at least on the board, and keep it valid, of course, that is the main important thing, then he should be able to make it through to Q2. Struggling a little bit in Sector 3, easy to do. Have to see what this time is. Might be touch and go as to whether he makes it, but never know. Remember, he needs to pop into 15th, and he can't make it. 16th for him. So Hyper will leave us because his time wasn't quite quick enough, I'm afraid. Ripley, Ghost won't make it through because of the crashes, and Deton as well will be leaving us. So 4 drivers out in Q1 now. At least it's a free strategy option, exactly. And we'll get onto the strategy options in a little bit. I'm not going to say it now, just in case I give you a bit of unfair information that other people don't have. But no one's really on a lap. Everyone knows they're safe from now on. So just waiting for people to cross the line. At this point you could probably just cross the line, it'd be a bit quicker, but out of the top we've got... Oh, and lovely. Lovely line there from Damon, speeding up the proceedings a bit. So that's fine, it's the end of the session, we'll let him off. Yeah, Ross Ryan, that guy Chives, and Prev, all very close at the top. Ripley was part of that group, but with the crash in Q1, that means he's going to start a bit further down out of the top 10. Very close in that midfield between Dayman and Padgestic. 5 drivers separated by about 3.5 tenths, which isn't that much. Oh. So there's confirmation Deton, Hyper and Ripley are out. Ripley due to the crash. It is saying that Ghost isn't out, so we'll have to wait and see if he can take part in Q2. And if the management will allow you to do that. Because it is a rule on this game that if you crash out in qualifying 1, you can't drive in qualifying 2. So, yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to wait and see if Ghost can actually drive the car. There you have the times. Mix of 1 minute 17s, 1 minute 18s. Probably expecting the drop-off zone to be a low 17 or a high 17 or low 18. I know, I don't understand either, Ghost. I thought as soon as you crashed out, that's it. But it does say you're in the session, so I'd say maybe just hold fire. Ferrari engineers must have worked double time to fix his car. Well, they've been very reliable in the past, so fingers crossed they're a bit better now. Got Tucker first out on track. Of course, Q2, this is where strategy takes centre stage. There you can see a mixed tyre selection on the left hand side of your screen. So the consensus is, in the Discord chat, we are trying to clear up why Ghost is able to race. Oh, as Tucker loses it there. Easy to do on that curb. Fingers crossed that'll be a bit of a heads up to everyone to just be cautious on that corner, because you do need to be. Yeah, we're thinking in Discord that the reason why Ghost is able to drive the car in Q2 is because he didn't lose a wheel. Just caught it on the very start of the stream, as we started. His front wing was gone, but not his wheel or his tyre. So maybe that's why it's a relatively easy fix. We'll have to wait and see whether Ghost is allowed to set a lap, considering as he did retire from Q1. But we'll get on to that in a few minutes' time when we know a bit more. Handful of drivers on flying laps. Tucker, FBU No, Flew and that guy. 4 drivers out on flying laps now. We've got a couple of drivers in Sector 3 Mr. Wiggles and Ryan coming around to start flying laps very shortly. Dayman now comes out onto the track for his out lap. Still 6 drivers in the pits. Management have decided that Ghost should not be allowed to set a lap in Q2, so he'll start 15th on the grid, or 14th, shall we say. Tucker and that guy on medium tyres. As you can see, Tucker won 19.444. That guy's in a 1:21, so defo improvement from him shortly, I imagine. Flew and FBU now on the soft compound tyres for their first run in Q2. Ryan also using mediums, we'll just update that. There we go. A lot more on the mediums than on the softs. We've got Little Semp on the softs. Rev is not out on track yet, but he has the softs equipped. Ryan goes 3rd fastest. Mr. Wiggles just behind our timing leader Flew at the moment on the yellow mark medium compound. Still 4 drivers into the pits who have yet to set a lap time. Of course, with Ripley's crash in Q1, that means that an extra person dropped out of Q1, which means 1 less will drop out of this session, added to Ghost's inability to set a lap time. That will be 3 drivers heading out of this session. So a bit less pressure on those remaining drivers. Obviously, still need to put in a good enough lap to get you through. Tidiest Bear, he's on the medium compound tyres, but has invalidated in Sector 1, so that lap is not any good for him. But Dayman is on a valid lap, going around across the line, and goes 4th fastest, only a couple of tenths away from 1st. Nice lap there from Dayman. Pretty close to Ryan and Wiggles. That guy going for another run, and through turn 8, invalidates his lap time, just dipping that left-hand set of tyres over the outside curb. So I imagine that guy probably come into the pits and maybe just go for the softs from that one. Padge starting a lap. Was beaten by his teammate in Q1. Have to wait and see if he can beat Tidiest Bear in this qualifying session, and whether any of those Williams cars can make it through to Q3. Mr. Wiggles goes fastest by 0.4 of a second. Using those medium compound tyres, you can see at the top of your screen he's done 3 laps on them now, and that is important. So it means if he gets through to Q3 on those tyres, he'll have to start the race on that same set of tyres, and it could be a couple of laps older than everyone else's set of tyres. So that's interesting to see. We'll have to monitor if Wiggles does stay on those mediums. Ross goes 2nd fastest now on the mediums. Padge goes P6, 18.3 for him, head of FBU now, and currently is safe. But Tidiest Bear invalidated his 1st lap. What about his 2nd one? It's a lot tidier. than the previous one. Doesn't invalidate the final corner, cross the line, and it's a 19-0. Currently puts him in 9th place. Chives, meanwhile, is setting Sector 1 track map purple. Threatened to dip a wheel out of bounds, out of track limits at the exit of turn 5, but just gets away with it, keeps it nice and tidy down to the DRS straight. Again, setting the track map purple. Chives on a good lap. There's a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Fingers crossed they don't affect his lap time or his concentration levels. So that's quick here from Chives through Sector 3. Wouldn't be surprised if this made it to the top of the timing screens. And it's a 16.8 on the medium compound. And just to put into perspective, Ghost did the same lap time in Q1 on the softs. Chives has put in a very, very quick lap time. Prev goes 4th fastest on the red marked soft tyres. What about little Semp? He's invalidated and he's on the mediums anyway. That guy's fastest lap of a 1 minute 17.8. It's good enough for 7th right now. Only 5 milliseconds away from Ryan. However, he's done 4 laps now on those medium compound tyres. And more people putting on a set of soft compound tyres. Flu and FB Uno out on a brand new set of softs. Also, Dayman, that guy now, and Ryan all equipping the soft tyres in the pits. Oh, and a bit of a wiggle there from Semp, keeps it out of the barrier. Very impressive car control there from Lil Semp. And he lives to set another lap time. Still 4 minutes to go, so plenty of time here for Semp to, if he wants to, come into the pits. We'll go on board now with FB Uno for his flying lap. Remember, he's currently sat in 10th and his best lap is on the soft tyre. Very brave through turn 2 there, taking that amount of curb, but I do say if you take that amount of curb and run it over the bottom of the, under the bottom of the car, he should be fine. It's only marginally off his best time in first run in Sector 1. Just 600ths down. Plenty to play for here. Plenty of time to gain in that middle sector or the final sector. Taking a nice tight line there through 6. Nice and planted through 7 and 8. It's a nice handsome lift there through turn 9. Depending on your setup, you can take it flat, or depending on if you run a bit less wings, we'll have to be a bit more cautious on the throttle. Tucker for life and Chives both retiring in the pits, so Tucker won't be able to make it through to Q3. He'll be starting 12th at best, but at the worst 13th. Uno now across the line, and it's a 2/10 improvement through Sector 2, but still remains 10th. What about our resident Frenchman? How is Flu getting on? He's backed off of this attempt. Probably, oh, I was about to say could be going for another run here, but he's not. He's going into the pits, and I don't think he'll make it out of the pits in time for another run. So Flu will have to maintain and be satisfied on that 17.6. Dayman's out on the softs, hoping to solidify his place in Q3. And round the final corner he comes in the Mercedes to start what will be either his last or second last lap. Wiggles retires in the pits too. He's happy on that 17.2. And, well, who am I to say that he shouldn't be confident on that time? Great laps from all of the top three on the medium tyres. Ross still in the pits, as is Prev, as is Ryan. So all three of them won't be able to come out of the pits in enough time to go for another run. So the top six cannot improve their times. That guy's on an out lap. Dayman has just invalidated, but has enough time to go for another run. Just needs to charge up that battery. Padge, Lil Semp, FB Uno and Tidiest Bear all in the pits. So no improvement is needed from Dayman and that guy. No one can force them out. All of them are in the pits. FB Uno has come into the garage. So possibly went for a run and got invalidated, so no pressure here on that guy or Dayman. They are going to continue their laps. See where they stack up going into Q3. Lovely bright blue helmet there for Dayman, complementing the bright blue wing mirrors at the top of the halo. It's always nice when you see a helmet that matches the car that the driver's using. Or maybe that's just me. Nice and tidy. 10th up in Sector 2. Remember, all of these drivers on Tuesdays run no assist whatsoever. No traction control, no anti-lock brakes, no racing line. The hardest form of sim racing there is today. Going around the final corner, Dayman, he's set a 17.8 on the mediums. And it's a 17.5 on the softs. That guy, meanwhile, set an invalid lap time. Doesn't matter at all. It's 3 to Q3, and we will be seeing both Aston Martins in the final part of qualifying. So there you have it. We already know who was going out based on who didn't leave the pits towards the end, but Ghost, with that crash in Q1, was allowed to drive in Q2. But leaders of the league said, well, it's only fair that you retire. So he'll start 14th on the grid. Tucker will be 13th on the grid. Tidiest Bear 12th. Beat his teammate in Q1, but Padge got the edge by 7 tenths in Q2. FB Uno missing out on Q3 by less than 1/10. As for Chives, Wiggles, Ross, Prev, Dayman, Flew, Ryan, that guy, Padge and Semp, it is time for the top 10 shootout. And keep an eye on those tyres. Prev, Dayman and Flew are the only three in the top 10 starting the race on the soft tyres. The other 7 will be starting on the mediums. And as Q3 gets underway, this is where strategy takes a back seat, raw pace takes over. "12 minutes. Most likely every driver will have 2 runs, or will want to aim for 2 runs, 2 different set of tyres, to try and maximise their chances at a pole position here this evening. First out of the box is Chives, followed by his teammate Flew. Alfa Romeo want to get out on the track as quickly as possible in Q3. Then comes the Haas of Lil Semp. Then And we have Ross in the McLaren, he's coming out of the box, as well as one of the Aston Martins of Prev. Padge, the only blue car in Q3, he's coming out of the pits now, followed by the second house of Mr. Wiggles. Ryan's now coming out of the pits alongside Dayman. Only driver left in the pit is that guy. Chai's now coming round to start the first run of Q3. Predicting an early safety car, says Dayman. Let's go Ross, says Tucker. Let's get your predictions in chat. Who do you think is going to pick up pole position? Do you think it's going to be Ross? He has looked pretty strong so far. Chives set the best lap of Q2. So Chives has a pretty decent chance here at going fastest and putting his Alfa Romeo on pole. Of course, it's one thing to be quick in Q2, it's another thing to fight the nerves, to fight the car and to drive the car and put it on pole in Q3. All drivers out on the track now. That guy's Aston Martin is out in Sector 2 between Flew and Lil Semp. Chives sets a 50.4 in Sector 2 split. Does look quick, pushing the track limits at the end of that chicane, but keeps it clean across the line. The benchmark is a 16.6. I have to say, that looks pretty strong. Fastest time we've seen tonight. And what a way to start Q3. Chives puts his Alfa Romeo in a great spot right now. We'll see if anyone can beat him. Lil Semp now third across the line. Flew is a second behind his teammate, and Lil Semp is half a second behind Chives. Ross goes second fastest and not too far away, only 400ths behind our Q3 leader at the moment. Dayman has crashed where we saw Ghost crash in Q1, and he is out of the session. He'll start 10th on the grid for the race, which is happening in a little over 10 minutes time. Ryan goes third fastest but can't drip into the 1 minute 16s. Mr. Wiggles can't manage that either. He settles for fourth at the moment on a 17.2. Padge is just a fraction away from Flew in sixth. Lil Semp there in seventh. Prev in eighth, and that guy is on a lap and is only a couple of tenths away from what Chives managed in Sector 2 split. This could very well be a 1 minute 16 of his own. Got a curb there through the chicane. We'll have to wait and see if it pays off. Nice tight line through the final corner. It's a 17.1 ahead of Ryan. So round one goes to Chives in Q3. Ryan's not on a lap. Mr. Wiggles is starting a new lap now. We'll go on board with him. Prev might also be on another lap. Just coming round into turn one in your foreground. You can see how long that main straight. Oh, as Wiggles goes off in turn two, that's going to ruin his attempts at bettering his 1 minute 17.2. I imagine he'll be into the pits to fit a new set of tyres on the car. You can see how long that main straight is on the track map. When you Wiggles engaged ERS at the final corner and get into turn one, you already had 20% ERS used at long straight is massive and a real action point in the race. Prev 1.7 seconds up, but he needs a lot more than that if he wants to improve his place. Currently P9. Hoping for Chives would make standings a bit more interesting instead of Karis. It would make standings a bit more interesting, you are right. So, not a silly pick at all. Prev into the pits. And Wiggles follows suit. Flew back out on track. 5 minutes left of this session. Still plenty of time. It's only 1 minute 20 to get round on an out lap here. So you can leave with around 2 minutes left of the session. But you do see quite frequently nowadays some drivers like to get out in front of their rivals, like Flew has done. Get some good track position. Get your lap time in, done, dusted. No pressure towards the end of the session. And the track is Flew's exclusively. Felt a decent enough pace, was too eager. Yep, easy to do on this track. Very easy to do. And the thing is, if you learn that in quali, then potentially you adapt your driving style for the race, and potentially you can bring the car home and get some points. So it's not a bad lesson to learn here in qualifying. Flew just a fraction off his personal best in sector 1. Remember, Chives and Ross are out there very close at the top of the standings. Can that guy Ryan and Wiggles, who are in a lone 1 minute 17, can they fight for pole? Or is that just a little bit too far out of their reach? Flew through sector 2 is 2 tenths up. It's going to put him around about the top 5. Ross in the McLaren coming out of the pits now has a very small fraction of time to gain on Chives as Flew goes half a second faster and puts his Alfa Romeo into the top 3. That is a great last sector from Flew. He looked to be on for a 1 minute 17.2, and big gains in the final sector means that he could potentially be on the second row of the grid for the race. Even onto that guy now, he has started his flying lap. Everyone out on track with the exception of Padge. Prev, who won last week in Portimao, he has come round to start a flying lap in the second Aston Martin. Chives is also on a flying lap, as is Lil Samp. 5 drivers to watch out for him. Mr. Wiggles now comes across. Oh, and that's a spin. Turn 9 gains yet another victim. This time it's an Aston Martin. However, that car seems to still be in one piece. He might be able to go round for another run if he's lucky. Pick up with Chives going through turn 7 and 8. Needs to decrease his best time if he wants a shot at pole. Not that he needs to, but he is doing anyway. 2 tenths to the good. Nice lap so far from Chives, but Ross is coming through sector 1 now on his flying lap. All to play for. Lots of pressure. Flew is into the pits. I think that P3 is the best he can hope for here tonight. He'll be hoping that none of the drivers below him can improve and beat his time. Padgestic now on an out lap. He will be the last one to set a fast lap time, and Chives goes quicker, but does lose a tenth or so in the final sector. This then gives an opportunity for Ross to gain a tenth of a second is all he needs, and he's just under a tenth up. Oh, and a big slide, a big wiggle there out of turn 11. Could that have ruined his opportunity at pole on this occasion? Through the final corner he comes. Can he still get provisional pole? No, he can't. He lost his advantage. And well, just one mistake there can cost you. Padge coming across the line now to start his final flying run. Plenty of time for drivers to cross the line and start a new lap. As for Wiggles, this will probably be his final run. Where can he put his Haas? Ryan improves to 5th, and very unfortunately is only 5 milliseconds behind this guy, Mr. Wiggles, who invalidates his lap time. Prev goes second fastest, a 16.7, and we did not see that coming. Ross now needs an improvement on this lap and will be desperately hoping that he doesn't get a wiggle out of turn 11 like last time. Chives is retired in the pits. He can't improve on his time. Will Chives be getting pole? We'll find out in a few short moments. Flew and Wiggles have finished their session, as has Lil Semp. He'll start 9th on the grid. Ross a little bit out of shape into this chicane. Again, this final sector may have just robbed Ross of the opportunity to get pole position here tonight in Spain. Across the line he comes, and it is slower. That guy has popped his Aston Martin into 4th in the last few moments. That is a cracking lap there from that guy to make it 2 Aston Martins in the top 4. And how close is that top 4 looking? Less than a 10th separating all of those top 4. Well, have to say that was as exciting a qualifying session as you will see. And it is Chives who has prevailed. That first run was good. It was a 16.6. He marginally improved later on in the session, but the first run was good enough to get him pole here tonight. That guy comes around to end the session and speed up our lives very handily. Great quali it was, certainly a great quali. Flew a go, and hello Magic, mate, hope you're well. I have to say, a top 7 separated by less than half a second. You get a little bit confused because you see Flew, Wiggles, Ryan all in the 17s and the top are like 16.6. You think that Chives is miles ahead, but he's only half a second. Like, it's really not that much when you think about it. But there you go, Chives is on pole. Prev alongside last week's race winner is on the front row of the grid. Ross is in 3rd after a couple of nightmare sector 3s for him. Otherwise, he possibly could have gone pole. That guy pops his Aston Martin into 4th. Just behind his teammate on the grid. Flew and Wiggles on row 3. Ryan and Padge make an all-British row 4. Lil Semp and Dayman rounding off the top 10. And with quali sessions like that, why not join us later in the week for our 3 remaining streams? Thursday night, we have Assist Tier 1. Unconfirmed if there's a stream. You'll have to check on the day at 7:30 PM GMT. We've got a few streamers who are just away at the moment. But join us on Saturday night for F2. Again, same time, 7:30 PM GMT. And Sunday night, join Padge for Assist Tier 2. Plenty of racing left this week. Plenty of qualifying sessions, which I'm sure are going to be really interesting. And possibly even closer than the one you saw tonight. 100% bottle in the race. Mate, don't talk like that. The race is a clean canvas. You've got the best starting grid. Keep it clean. You don't have to do any heroics. Even if you lose a couple of places off the start, it's not the end of the world. You're still on the podium. But just manage the car, get it to the end, get some points on the boards. But of course, if you do crash out, don't beat yourself up over it. Just a video game. Nothing to worry about. Featured driver for tonight. Optimist. Yeah, well, I've been through the moments where you have a bad race and you beat yourself up over it, and you think, if only I didn't make that mistake or this mistake, or what if I did this strategy? It might have been better for me. You know, you'll always have thoughts like that. It's just how you manage them, and your mindset is a really important thing when you are racing. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's a game. We don't earn money off of this. As silly as it sounds, but you know, that's just my personal approach to it all. Featured driver, as I said tonight, is Ghost Tamino. Has it all to do, starting in 14th on the grid after that crash in Q1. Featured driver, in case you're not aware, is designed for you guys at home to get to know some of the drivers instead of just knowing their gamer tag and their driving technique. Goes 17 years old from the Czech Republic. I think possibly the only Czech Republic driver we have in IIRL. Using a Thrustmaster TMX wheel. His favourite F1 driver, Max Verstappen. Favourite track is Monza. Nice track choice. Season aspirations, he's happy with the top 3 finish, either in every race or in the championship, so keep an eye on that. Ghost, I'm sure, will be aiming for a good point finish here tonight, possibly even a podium if things go his way. He drives in no assist and F2 on Saturday night, so watch him on Saturday nights too. And as for his strengths, he says qualifying pace, as we saw in Q1, top of the timing screens, and also strategy. And he might need to draw on that good strategy mindset in order to gain places up from 14th on the grid. Hello Wiggles, Brum Brum. Are you talking about the old children's cartoon, Brum? The talking car who goes on adventures? If you know Brum, you'll know how good a show it was. If you don't, it'll sound silly. So I'm not even going to try and act cool. But if you know Brum, you know it's cool. Flu 32 met la carotte. The carrot. Dan Flatmon Poto. I have no idea if what I've said was just offensive and or accurate in pronunciation. I wonder if Magic just called Flu a carrot in chat. Potentially. Shush Tim. Hello TD. Now a little birdie told me that TD's back on F1, but he can only do offline racing. But hello TD, hope you're well. Race will be getting underway very shortly, formation lap getting underway. This is confirmation of the grid here tonight, and the tyre strategies are up on stream. One driver using the hard tyre, and it is our featured driver, Ghost Tamino. So he wants to try and avoid an early safety car, because usually with an early safety car, lots of drivers will go onto the hard compound tyre. Ghost will be hoping against that, possibly hoping for a late safety car, where he can put on a set of soft tyres or medium tyres to the end, and doesn't have to worry about losing too much time on those hards. And Snacks, hello mate, how you doing? Hope you're well. So as we said, at the end of Q2, 3 drivers must start on those soft tyres, and they are the only drivers starting on the softs. Prev in 2nd, Flew in 5th, Dayman in 10th. Everyone else, apart from Ghost on the hards, is on the medium compound tyre. And the tyre strategy the game gives you is a medium hard. So no wonder why a lot of people are starting with the mediums. Somehow, IIRL Limitless managed to do a soft medium around this track, if I'm not mistaken. I have no idea how. But that's why he's IIRL Limitless. Anyways, Chives is on pole, much to the surprise of TD. Softs are terrible at this track. They do run out very quickly in tyre degradation, which means we may see Prev, Flew and Dayman into the pits in the first 5 or 6 laps. Maybe 10 laps if you're super cautious with them. This is poised to be quite an interesting race. We've got fast drivers at the back. We've got Ghost and Ripley, who crashed out of Q1. They're looking to fight their way back into the top scoring points. We've got a very competitive top 6, top 7. And we have 2 different tyre strategies on the front row of the grid. How is this going to go now into turn 1? Prev should get the better start on the soft compound tyres, but it is Chives that has a good start, and he's taken the inside line into turn 1. He's got good space, I have to say, leading from pole. Very nicely done there from Chives. Prev manages to send it up the inside of Ross, who was alongside into turn 1, but Prev regains his 2nd place. Further behind that guy is still in 4th. Flew wiggles. Semp is up to 7th. He's passed Ryan and Padgestic. Ghost Tamino is already up to 10th, and Ripley is already up to 11th. Tackle for Life is fallen, and he's off at the exit of turn 4, and that is what the yellow flag is about. It seems to be a pretty clean start, as is the trend in this no assist tier 1 division. And no one, apart from Tucker, in this early stage has fallen away from the pack. So you see 2 drivers getting very close there, Semp and Ryan. Ryan looking around the outside. He has got round the outside. Back up into 7th is Ryan. Behind Padge we have 2 Wanderers. Oh, and what's happened to Semp? He's off. We just missed it on screen there. But a bit of oversteer through that right-hander. Very easy to do. And Semp is down in 16th and just on the back of Deton now. Patch now has a nice gap in front of him, but 2 very quick drivers behind him, Ripley and Ghost, seeking to capitalise from their really good start. Ripley is actually overtaken Ghost here down the main straight. So those hard tyres coming into play. Change in the leads. Chives has been caught and passed by Prev. Ross is now fighting, and Ripley has had an issue. Tucker's off again at turn 2, so he's lost a bit more ground. Ripley's dropped from 9th to 11th, so I wonder what's happened there. Maybe some contact between himself and Ghost, as Deton is out, and that's a crash at turn 8. Will there be a safety car or a VSC? Ripley is now getting overtaken by FB Uno, so I wonder if Ripley has some damage here that we don't know about. Tucker is now out, and he's crashed at the exit of turn 5, and that is a virtual safety car. Flew pits. Full safety car. Was a virtual safety car, is now a full safety car. Flew and Dayman getting off of those soft tyres as quickly as they can. Lil Semp now pitting as well in the Haas. I wonder if he's got some damage. I wouldn't think The obvious strategy would be here to pit, but maybe sent past some damage. But no, he's just onto a new set of medium tyres. Could be a very smart call in the long run. And what's happened with Ghost? He's dropped to 11th, Ripley's back up to 9th. Tidiest Bear's now into the points due to 3. Oh, and that's Ripley! Seems like Ripley's just lost it out of turn 4. Seems like a few drivers struggling out there. Track is, of course, green, which means it's not quite as much rubber on the track, not as much grip as it ordinarily would be. Prev, safety car came out for him just after he went past the pit lane, so safety car is currently waiting around turn 3. Prev leads this race. Chives is second, Ross is third. That guy is in the second, Aston Martin in P4. Mr. Wiggles first, Haas in 5th, Ryan 6th, Padge in 7th, FB Uno 8th, Tidiest Bear making 2 Williams in the points. Ghost Tamino had a good start, but a mistake somewhere in the last couple of laps has sent him down to 10th. Hyper's in 11th, good start from him. Ripley having a few moments, it would seem, so far in the race. He's in 12th. Flu, Dayman, Lil Sam all pitting under this safety car, that's why they are 13th, 14th and 15th respectively. Tucker had a couple of spins in the race in the first couple of laps and retired at the exit of this corner here. TRC Deaton joining the league once again. First race in a while. He's crashed at the exit of turn 8 here. And Ripley has a drive-through penalty. I wonder what that's about. I'm going to check race director. So Damon's got a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Ripley had a collision with the safety car, giving him a warning, and now has fallen too far back, giving him a drive-through. So Ripley has had a nightmare first 4 laps. The pack are now bunching up due to the safety car being in this lap. Prev is the new effective safety car and will decide when to go. And he's caught Ross napping, and Chives has lost it, I think, at the final chicane, and that's why Ross is so far back. He had to respond to Chives, who dropped it at the chicane. Prev warming his tyres down the main straight. Not quite as warm as they would like, but fortunately for him, Chives has dropped. Hyper's also dropped to the back of the field as well. Not a good safety restart for Chives and Hyper. Ghost is past Tidiest Bear now, up into 8th place. And this is good news now for Prev. He has a bit of breathing room. I'm not sure, TD, how that happened, but, you know, maybe there's something we've missed. Maybe it was, as he was trying to catch up to the back of the pack, he just clipped the safety car, not realising it was at turn 3, but who knows. Lap 5 of 33, still plenty of laps left in this race. Plenty of strategy choices that are going to be made. For instance, are we going to see anyone attempt a soft medium? I imagine the vast majority of drivers will be on a medium to hard strategy. Ghost, if he makes those hards last a load more laps, could be going onto the softs in the final stint. Could see a wide range of strategies take form here this evening. And Ross is catching Prev. Ross has a nice healthy advantage over that guy in 3rd. So it doesn't have to look in his mirrors too much. Instead, the one looking in their mirrors is Prev Hyperpits from last. Wonder if he's got some damage. Indeed he does. Front wing change there for Hyper. Ross is pressurising Prev for the lead of the race. Ross leading the championship in the no assist tier. Still with 10 races to go though, so it's early days as Sent picks up a time penalty in 13th. Remember, Ripley in 14th still has to come in and serve a drive-through in the next lap or two. Otherwise he'll get disqualified from the race. And it seems like Ross is being held up here. That guy, Mr. Wiggles, closing in on the top two. This is lap 3 after the safety restart, so DRS is now activated. Mr. Wiggles with the fastest lap of the race. Top 4 all separated by just a few seconds. They won't get DRS now down this main straight, but they will after turn 8 and 9. Tidy as Bear time penalty for him. He's in 9th place right now. Still a bit too early to determine where those time penalties are going to cost people time at the end of the race, but as the race takes form, it will be easier to know. Hyper really struggling. Sector 3, another yellow flag out. DRS is activated down this main straight. Ross now taking the outside line. Seems to have got a switch back, and just look at that traction. Bit of wheel bump in there, but all harmless. Ross taking the lead on lap 7. Of course, this is going to leave him vulnerable down the main straight. I wonder if Ross would have been a bit more conservative on that back straight, because now he's going to be under pressure from both Aston Martins and Mr. Wiggles behind now. But Ross has a half-second lead as he starts lap 8. Here comes Prev. Alongside, Ross not defending the inside line, they are side by side. Prev trying to stake a claim that that was his corner. Ross forced off the track slightly. Doesn't look like any harm done, but Ross will be fighting to get back into the lead of this race. Remember, Prev's on the soft tyres, and those soft tyres reduce in tyre wear very, very quickly. So that is why the top 4 are now separated by only 1 second. These 4 drivers super close to each other now. We've got Ryan in 5th, who is also in the background. You can see pushing really hard. You see Hyper there just getting out of the way. No nose on his car. Bit of contact there between Ross and Prev. I wonder if Ross has got any damage from that. But Ryan is now within a second of Mr. Wiggles, who is challenging that guy for 3rd and gets the move done. Wonder if that was a good overtake, or maybe that guy has some... I think he has some damage, you know. Just see a bit of understeer. Comes into the pits. Ross now, can he regain the lead? Chimes to the time penalty. Oh, very close there. Almost forced off the track. Hyper retires in the pits. Unfortunate for him. Just not his day today, it would seem. Prev I have often described as one of the league's best defenders. Ross has a big job here to get past Prev, although the tyre situation is going to come back into his favour in the next couple of laps. Prev is going to need to pit. He's going to lose a lot of time on those soft tyres. Ghost, meanwhile, is up to 5th and having a fantastic first stint in this race. Ross with DRS gets ahead of Prev into turn 10. Are we just going to see a repeat of what happened a couple laps ago, where Prev got straight back past on the main straight? Ghost is in 5th. Padge having a great race and sticking on the back of that Ferrari in 6th. FBU, no good race from him as well so far, 7th place and gaining a lot of places off the start. Dayman is in 8th, started in 10th. Here comes Prev, gets the move done into turn 1 round the outside of Ross. And Mr. Wiggles just lying in wait here, not being too aggressive, biding his time. Ross doesn't have a helmet on in the car, that's a health and safety violation. Should be disqualified straight away. Bit of a wiggle there through turn 4 for Ross. Lil Semp is in 9th with a time penalty, of course. Chives is in 10th, trying to fight back from when he lost 2nd place under safety car. That guy pitted last lap onto a new set of hard compound tyres for the rest of the race. Tidy's Bear, meanwhile, is on a 2-stop strategy onto a set of soft compound tyres for this middle stint. Flew has pitted as well. He is on a set of hard compound tyres, and Ripley is coming out of the pits now. Has served his drive-through and is now onto a set of hard compound tyres. That's why he's 20-30 seconds off the pace from Flew at the moment. But here now, we do see a repeat. Ross didn't make the move into turn 10. Instead, he waited for turn 1. Here comes Wiggles now around the outside of Prev. Backs off just at the right time. Otherwise, there probably would have been a bit of a collision there. But Ross gains the lead back on lap 11. Chives, new fastest lap of the race, showing he has pace here as Dayman gets past FBU now for 7th place. And in the process, gets a time penalty. Ross's job now is clear. He wants a 1-second gap on these two who are fighting tooth and nail through the middle section of this lap. They're still going side by side. Mr. Wiggles forced to go across the inside curb of turn 7, but no spin on this occasion. Ross is making full advantage of this. Here comes the DRS now into play alongside. He's got the inside line and gets the move done. Mr. Wiggles up into 2nd place. Ryan, of course, is on the back of these two and licking his lips to see if he can potentially plunge his way into the top 3 and on the podium. But it looks like Prev's tyres are hurting him at this moment in time. Just doesn't have the traction, especially out of the final corner. He is under threat now from Ryan. Prev does have the DRS on Wiggles to help him defend the position. Tidy Bear into the pits for a new set of hard tyres for the rest of the race. I have to say, this is a great battle, the top 4. Ross has just got that 1.6 second gap now, which means he is safe from those behind him. Using DRS. Ripley, 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. Ghost, meanwhile, is only 5 seconds behind this group. Prev forced off track slightly. Ryan forced to lift through 11. Needed to, otherwise you're going to spin. Ryan up into 3rd. Of course, the more Ryan and Prev fight, Wiggles now has the DRS gap on Ryan, so these top 3 now are a little bit more spread out as Prev pits from 4th. Ross did a Max and Charles, yes he did. Yes he did. Talking of Charles, we've got our own Ferrari Wanderer here in nice space of his own. Again, he's 5 seconds away from Ryan, so that gap isn't falling away, even though he's on the slower hard compound tyres. Instead, what Ghost will be hoping for is that when he goes on to a faster set of tyres than the top 3 in a few laps' time, that he is going to close that gap. and hope for a potential podium opportunity to arise. Padge having a great race, up in 5th place, capitalising from other people's mistakes tonight. And I have to say, it's not too far away from Ghost, who we all know how quick Ghost is. So Padge having a fantastic race so far. Dayman, again, solid race from him. He's up into 6th after starting 10th on the grid. Prev, meanwhile, has boxed from the softs to the mediums. So I wonder if he is going for a 1-stop or a 2-stop. I'll have to wait and see. Ghost, meanwhile, has dropped back a slight touch. He's now 8 seconds behind the top 3 and has lost a good few seconds. Padge is now on the gearbox of Ghost's Ferrari. And Lil Semp and Chives going side by side in turn 1. And what has happened there? Possibly the stewards might have a look at that. Does Chives have damage? That's the question. There's a big shunt into turn 1. From what it looked like to me, from what I saw and didn't see, obviously I could be wrong here, it looks like Chives has gone for the move on the straight down past Semp. Gone to the outside. Semp has thought, I'm going to brake as late as I can, try and get past Chives again. And yeah, there's been a collision into turn 1. There goes Chives. He is now past Lil Semp. A bit more caution for both of these drivers. Prev, of course, has capitalised from these two having a nice little boxing fight into turn 1. He's up into 7th place. And Chives into the pits. Lil Semp stays out. Chives gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Ghost is now starting to pull away from Padge just a touch. As a result, Dayman is now all over the back of the Williams driver. This is the battle for 5th, but Dayman does have a 3-second time penalty to his name. Chives boxing onto the hard compound tyre for the rest of the race. Still 18 laps to go. Plenty of racing, not even at half race distance. Lil Semp defending from that guy. Oh, and more contact here between Semp and another driver. That guy this time. We did see him go to the outside. Semp just sending it over the exit curb of turn 10. So I wonder if Semp again has just missed his braking point slightly. Mr. Wiggles, 5-second penalty coming into the pits for crossing the white line. And what's happened here? It looks like he's come out of the pits onto the track. I wonder what's happened there with Wiggles. Maybe it's a glitch or something, but as a result, he's lost a big chunk of time. He's now behind Ryan, who was in 3rd. They're both onto a set of hard tyres now. Ross now leads the race by 15 seconds from Ghost, but Ross will be expected into the pit stops very, very shortly, possibly this lap. Tilius Bear is now out, but retires in the pit, so that won't bring out a safety car. Hello Hyper, how you doing? Hope you're well. Dayman has got past Padgestic now for what is now 3rd, but when they pit will be a bit further down the grid. Ghost on 16 lap old hard tyres sets his new personal best and a fastest lap of the race. Very impressive stuff there from Ghost. as he starts to chip away at Ross's lead. Of course, Ghost can go to lap 23, possibly, on those hard tyres, so don't expect to see him into the pits in the next 3 or 4 laps. Ross, on the other hand, might be going here for a medium soft, sorry. Just depends on if Ross can manage that tyre wear. Chives, new fastest lap of the race. He's down in 10th into the points, but has been rather unfortunate with a couple of incidents here tonight. Ross takes that glory away from Ghost and Chives and sets a new fastest lap of the race. Doesn't seem to be tyre preserving at the moment, seems to be pushing as hard as he can. And if he can maybe wait until lap 20 or 21, Ross can pit here onto the soft compound tyres and have a serious advantage on Prev, Ryan and Wiggles for the race win. Prev, meanwhile, sets a new fastest lap of the race. These guys aren't tyre saving, these guys aren't fuel saving, they are pushing hard. Great to see drivers up and down the fields, regardless of strategy, pushing their hardest. Three of the top 4 must pit. Ross, Ghost, Padgestic, all 3 must pit at some point in this race. They're all on worn tyres. Ghost can probably go a few more laps, but Ross and Padge will be thinking in the next couple of laps of pitting, possibly going on to a set of soft compound tyres. Just depends on what their preference is. Dayman has already pitted in the first few laps before the safety car. Sorry, pitted under safety car, so he doesn't need to pit right now. Of course, oh, and there's Padge. Such a great race from Padge. Great 18 laps. That spin, possibly due to worn tyres, has halted his progress and his quest for some good points here tonight. I'm sure Padge will be into the pits very soon to get a new set of rubber on that car. Dayman here could be in a good spot. Could easily go to lap 22 here. Box onto softs. Have a really good opportunity here at some good points. Chives new fastest lap of the race. Padge indeed does come into the pits for a new set of hard compound tyres, so not risking the softs with 14 laps remaining. Ross is in control of this race, but will he remain in control of this race once he makes a pit stop? He's now starting lap 19, sorry, of 33. Ross is likely going for the medium to soft strategy. Prev still holding on to 4th from Ryan, who is under pressure from Wiggles behind 2. These 3 have been fighting most of this race. And it's great to see such a close fight. Prev meanwhile is gaining on the back of Dayman. Dayman with worn tyres. Prev with 10 lap newer mediums. These 3 will be hoping to clear Dayman as quickly as they can. Chives retires in the pits. It's not worked out for him tonight. Shame to see such an impressive pole position lap time. Prev will be hoping to clear Dayman as quickly as possible so that Ryan and Wiggles can't capitalise on any fights that those two drivers have. Prev now has a bit of a healthy gap on Ryan, 4/10 down into turn 1. He's got the move done. Dayman has to yield there. Doesn't want to fight too hard on 17 lap old medium tyres. And what Prev will be hoping is he can build a 1 second gap on Dayman, sorry, who is defending very hard from Ryan. Prev, this is his opportunity to get a nice healthy cushion on Ryan. Dayman will get the DRS down this back straight. That's going to help Ryan, who sends it down the inside, hits the inside apex beautifully. Wiggles lying in wait. Ryan again going side by side with a driver through turn 12. He's got a lot of guts doing that, and he's past Dayman. Nice move there from Ryan, very composed, very cautious at times, with the throttle application especially. Gets that move done, he's up into 4th, but again, he doesn't have the DRS on Prev. Prev's job is completed. Meanwhile, beautiful camera angle of Wiggles, who's getting past Dayman, looking up the inside of Ryan for a possible move, but to no avail. Ross still out on those medium tyres. He has about 25 seconds, maybe 26 or 27 seconds back to this group. He might not get out ahead of this group, but one thing is for sure, he can box onto softs. And there is a safety car on track. Ripley, unfortunately, losing the car. You'll just see him come into shot now in a couple of seconds' time. Losing it. Out of the track he goes, out of the race he goes rather. Ghost now, this is music to his ears. We said earlier on, he is hoping for a late safety car. He can box onto softs and have a really good shot at a race win here. Ryan stays out, but Wiggles and Prev and Dayman all pit. This is good news as well for Dayman, who needed to box 2. That guy now boxes Prev onto the mediums, so not convinced those soft tyres will last. Wiggles possibly serving a penalty. FBU no drive-through penalty for him. He'll have to serve that after the safety car's gone in. Of course, Ross couldn't pit because that safety car came out when he was on the main straight, so he now has to wait until the end of lap 23. This safety car has brought everyone together, which means time penalties now mean something very importantly. Ross comes into the pits where I'm sure he will put on a set of soft tyres. Question is, will Ryan pit? He has, I'd say, a reasonable cushion where he could pit and come out, say, around Dayman and Wiggles, but it's whether or not he wants to, that's the question. Ross indeed onto softs and will easily come out in the lead of this race. Padge pits from 11th onto a new set of soft tyres, and that's brought him back into this race. Chance at points for Padgestic once again. Ryan boxes. Ghost comes through to take 2nd place, and considering he started in 14th, is definitely throwing his name into the hat for a potential driver of the day here tonight. Can Ghost do the impossible? 14th to 1st. Can he beat Ross? They're now on identical tyres. When this safety car bunches them up, Ross will have Padgestic behind him, who is lapped. But then Ghost, once he's past Padgestic, has a chance to attack for the lead. Ross really here is the big loser in terms of situation. They're now on identical tyres. He's lost his lead, but he has a good opportunity still at winning this race. Ghost is not out of it. Ryan is not out of it. Prev is on the medium tyres, which are a little bit slower, but maybe towards the end of the race. Maybe towards the end of the race, he'll come back into it. Dayman again, good stint on those medium compound tyres. And that safety car is good news for Dayman. Mr. Wiggles in 6th. That guy on the mediums, as is Flew, who, as always, doesn't get a time penalty and has 3 drivers ahead of him who need to serve penalties at the end of the race. FB Uno with that drive-through, let's not forget, you can only serve that once the safety car has come in. Lil Semp is in 10th and should get some points once FB Uno serves this penalty. Lap 24, now 25 of 33. Ross leads and just waiting for some drivers to catch up to the back of the safety car queue. It's really anyone's guess from this point who is going to win this race. As we said, Ross has Padgestic between him and Ghost. This is going to be a very interesting final 7 or 8 laps. Safety car will probably wait another lap to try and pick up FB Uno and Lil Semp. One more lap under safety car conditions, and then I'm sure we're going to have 7 or 8 more laps of uninterrupted racing. It's going to be frantic, it's going to be wheel to wheel, it's going to be close. Those penalties are going to take their effect. Dayman with 6 seconds, that guy with 6 seconds, Mr. Wiggles with 3 seconds, Lil Semp has 12, but he won't lose a place to Padge because Padge is a lap down. FB Uno with that drive-through will come out in 10th. Can't overtake Padge, of course, because he's a lap down. Text them, thank you for all your support. We are 2 followers short of 350, which 5 or 6 months ago when we started this channel we never imagined possible. So thank you all for your continued support. Thank you for everyone who watches, even if you don't type in chat. We appreciate your support and your views, we really do. And it's races like this where it is hanging on a knife edge. That is where we thrive. This is where legends are made. This is where championships are potentially won and lost. One mistake here can send you from a good point scoring finish to either a low point scoring finish or a DNF. Safety car is in this lap. Ghost. Could he? Does he Will he dare go from 14th to 1st? Round 4. Safety car turned into you, so broken bodywork, says Ripley. That's cleared up why he got the drive-through penalty. Ross not going for it yet. Drivers behind perhaps think he has already gone, but he goes out of the final corner and it looks like he's caught the rest of the pack napping here. Padge is a lap down, remember, so that is not an overtake for Ghost for second. It's already in second. Padge moves out of the way and slows down, much to everyone else's, all the other drivers' benefit and pleasure. Ghost, you saw going over the curve of turn 2, he now has a 3-second time penalty to his name, and that possibly could have ruined his chance at a race win. Wiggles and Dayman going side by side through turn 4. We said there was going to be a lot of wheel-to-wheel action in the remaining 7 laps, and there you have it. Wiggles making progress up the field. He has a time penalty, but it's only 3 seconds. That is better than the 4 drivers with time penalties beneath him. Flew, meanwhile, is down to 10th. Not a very good safety car restart from his perspective. Everyone forming a nice little line down to turn 10. Dayman overtaken by Wiggles in the first sector, and in sector 3 under big pressure from that guy in the Aston Martin. Last week in Portugal, that guy won the race by 1 second after penalties were applied, but lost the race win on a steward's time penalty decision, as Lil FP Uno comes into the pits to serve a drive-through penalty that we already knew about. Gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but it won't ruin his chances at points because, as we said, Padge is 1 lap down. Now, Prev's decision to go on the mediums will be called into question. Can he defend from Mr. Wiggles, who is on the softs? Ross leads by 9/10. DRS not yet activated. Until lap 3 of the safety car restart. But of course, Ghost with that penalty is going to cost him at the moment a spot on the podium. As it stands, the podium is going to go to Ryan, Prev and Ross. Ross comes round the final corner to start lap 29. DRS is now enabled, not down this main straight of course, as the DRS detection zone is at the final corner. Meanwhile, Wiggles and Prev once again renewing this fight in Spain. Prev leads the space on the inside of turn 2. Nice driving etiquette from both of these drivers. Can Wiggles hang it round the outside of turn 3? They're side by side going towards turn 4. Prev has the inside, Wiggles on the outside. Wiggles trying to put down the power as soon as he can. He has the inside line now for turn 5. Brakes later. Bit of a puff of smoke. Prev hanging it round the outside. They're still side by side now. This is brilliant racing. Great battle here on lap 29 of 33. And eventually something has to give. Prev has to back off into turn 7. Brilliant racing there from Wiggles and Prev. Ross leading now. 1.2 seconds, he's out of DRS range from Ghost, who doesn't have any threat behind him from Ryan. Wiggles, of course, with that battle with Prev, who now gets a time penalty, is 2 seconds away from the top 3. Seems like the top 3 are going to be the top 3, but are they going to be in that order? Can Ghost gain a 3-second gap on Ryan? That is the big question. That guy behind Dayman, who has had a decent race, started in 10th, did Dayman, he's up to 6th. Flew, meanwhile, very impressive in qualifying. Again, keeping it clean on penalties, and that could be a reason why He finishes higher than 9th come the end of the race. FBU note after that drive through, still in 10th and should pick up a Drivers' Championship point. Padge a lap down, but still no time penalties. Good race from him in that perspective. And was having a cracking race until a spin in Sector 3 before he pitted. Tucker retiring on lap 2 or 3. Deaton on lap 4 brought the safety car out. Hyper retired in the pits. Tidy as Bear also, as did Chives. Ripley with an unfortunate incident, a crash in Sector 3. Ended his race and his hope of points. Prev looking to get past Wiggles. Dayman looking to defend from that guy. Flew is now past Lil Semp, but Lil Semp with the soft compound tyres looking to fight back. This really has been a great race. Lots of different strategy calls in the opening half of the race. The safety car did even the playing field in terms of the tyre strategies, but that's where time penalties now come into play, and it could be the driver without time penalties that win this race. Ross is leading Ghost by 2.5 seconds, and Ross doesn't have a time penalty next to his name, which means he is almost certain to win unless a big mistake happens. Ryan, penalty-free race, good race from him, and is set at the moment to jump ahead of Ghost into second. Ross is leading the championship from Ryan, so no surprise perhaps that Ross and Ryan are going to end up on the podium together. Bit of a mistake out of the final corner from Dayman. That guy is passed and up into 6th. Put penalty graphic on the screen now. Flew meanwhile, he's 2 seconds behind Dayman, so he's going to jump him. He's 3 seconds behind that guy, so he's going to jump him. He's 4 seconds away from Prev and 5 seconds away from Wiggles, so Flew needs to push a little bit harder if he wants to jump ahead of Prev and Wiggles. So far, Flew looking good for a potential 6th. Ryan now closing that gap to Ghost. Doesn't seem like Ryan has what it takes to win this race, unless Ross of course makes a mistake. But the question is, will Ryan go for the move on Ghost on track, or will he be satisfied with sitting behind Ghost for another lap plus this final chicane? Ross leads the race and starts lap 33 of 33. He's got a 3-second lead. He doesn't need to push, no heroics needed from Ross. Ghost running out of electrical energy. A little bit of movement on the straight to try and break that toe. Ryan's still trying to get past Ghost, even though he will get past on time penalties. Prev and Wiggles, meanwhile, it seems have either collided or Wiggles has made a mistake into turn 3, and Wiggles has lost some ground. Has lost a place to that guy, should still get past on time penalties. So in that sense, no harm done, but really, it's all about this guy. Ross took the lead early on, hasn't dropped the lead since, even in the safety car process. Kinda was beneficial for him to pit and not lose time, but brought the pack closer together, putting him under pressure. He forced Ghost into a mistake, giving him the 3-second time penalty. Hasn't looked back since, and comes around the final corner to extend his championship lead. It was 15 points. It's now going to be 22 points. Ryan overtaking Ghost on time penalties and on the podium. Prev comes home, a good 4th position for him. That guy stays in 5th. Wiggles is in 6th. Oh, in fact, Flew, after penalties, jumps up to P5. Great result there from Flew, and just tells you the importance of keeping it clean out in a 50% race. FBUno with that drive through sent him back to 10th, but he will get a point because Padge is a lapped car. Wow. I have to say, that is a classic. Absolute classic. A couple of safety cars, handful of retirements, some major shocks in qualifying, and in the end, one driver who didn't put a foot wrong all race, IIRL takes the win and a fastest lap, full 26 points. In fact, make that a 23-point lead at the top of the championship, but still 9 races to go, remember, all to play for. Ryan, an impressive drive from him, keeping it clean, getting past Ghost on time penalties. He made his way up from 14th on the grid, and yeah, the safety car did help him a bit, but you've got to take those opportunities and you've got to be bold enough to go on the hard compound tyres in the first place, which is what he did. Ghost is our driver of the day tonight and is our featured driver for this evening, so congratulations Ghost. Prev, good result from him as well. Was a tough customer to overtake. Wiggles found out that firsthand. Flew no penalties once again and gaining places from 8th or 9th when he crossed the line. Finishes in P5 where he started. Again, great example of keeping it clean. That guy, Mr. Wiggles, Dayman, Semp and FBUno all picking up points here tonight. Padgestic 1 lap down after a couple of spins in Sector 3. Tucker for Life, Deton, early retirements. Hypertilius, Bear Chives all retiring in the pits. Ripley, a crash out on track in Sector 3. What lap did Chives retire? Around about lap 20, mate. Around about lap 20. So your prediction of lap like 5 was wrong. Well, I just had to catch my breath for a minute there because that was a fantastic race. Of course, a few more streams coming up for you this week. Thursday stream, not sure if it's happening or not. Our current streamer for Thursday night is just away for a couple of weeks, so we may not have a stream to you on Thursday nights at the moment, but fingers crossed we will get one out to you as soon as possible. But join us definitely on Saturday night for F2 and Sunday night for Assist Tier 2, all starting at 7:30 PM GMT, that is UK time. Wow. Again, thank you to everyone who's been in the chat. Thank you to BRS Saunders who followed earlier on today. Almost at 350. Let's keep the support going for the stream. As for this week, we hope you have a fantastic one, and we'll see you later on.